Welcome to the Dog Psychology Podcast with Todd and Art.
All right, so here we go. We are 3 weeks late on the Dog Psychology Podcast, but hey, better late than never.
Yeah.
People have been messaging me, Todd, like, hey, what's up with the podcast? And so, let me shut my notifications off real quick. So people have been asking, like, what's up with the podcast? But, 3 weeks ago, you guys had a hurricane. That kind of put a delay in it.
Yeah, it went, actually, the eye essentially went over us, but that hurricane disintegrated really quick. What was weird about it is when it came ashore, way down south, where they really didn't have any issue with the hurricane, it spawned like this crazy amount of tornadoes.
Yeah.
So I think there was like 24, 25 known tornadoes. I had a friend who was down at Big Dog Ranch Rescue send me a video. I had to actually edit a lot of that out because they were talking like, bruh, they were like really indifferent to it. And, it killed some people. I knew social media would melt down. And that was it. The video was like 2 minutes long. And then I was down in Fort Lauderdale over the weekend.
Wait, hang on. The tornado killed somebody you knew?
No. But it killed quite a few people.
Oh, okay.
The tornadoes weren't harmless. They did quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
And there was fatalities from them.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be, overly levity about it. That's just not the way to do it.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
And then when I was down south, just over the weekend, people were talking about everybody saw a tornado down there. Everybody. You can go your whole life and live in a tornado area and never see a tornado. I've seen one.
Me. I live in a tornado area and I've never seen one.
I've seen one. And I don't know if I didn't see it, I experienced it. It was an F0. It went right over our house. But so for there to be all those tornadoes out there was kind of freaky. The storm didn't do anything outside of some of the coastal areas got.
Did your dogs act any differently during the storm?
Dude, I slept through it. It hit us around, we started getting it late afternoon, and it's just a matter of time for power outage. I had a generator set up. I had everything ready to go. I got a new generator at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And I was ready to go, and I had laid down to fall asleep. I don't know. I'm a go to bed early. I don't know, 9 o'clock. And then my wife woke me up at midnight. She kind of startled me. And the power had gone out. So I got everything set up for that. And, the next morning we didn't have power, but it was turned on real quick. It's not like we went days or anything like that.
We had that big storm back in June, I think it was, when we were out of power for like 3 or 4 days. I said never again. So I went and bought a generator after that. If I never have to use it, that's okay. Because, dude, I've been in Dallas for almost 20 something years and I've never not had power. So when you get comfortable using it, you just don't think it's ever going to go away.
Our power goes out here quite a bit because if you see, we're a 2-lane road. It's called Isle of Pines. So it's just all trees, and all it takes is one tree to fall and it can cut power. And so, there are a few people, and Jen's mom passed away a few years ago. We were actually looking at the in-home full Generac. We were having one installed for her. Like $20,000. They're worth it though. So, anyways,
the natural gas ones, those are nice, super quiet.
The area tank.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was all good. But now we're taping. We're back. We got some videos to watch. The one video is not just the video I want to watch; it's the concept behind it. It's that like constant consent thing.
Yeah.
Right. So It's interesting, especially if you go into the comments of the video I send you to.
Yeah, I actually downloaded the video. I was able to download it, so you can't really see who posted it. And you can't even see the comments, obviously, because it's not from a post, but I just was able to get the raw video. All right, you want to start with that one?
Sure. Let's get right to it. The first one, right, that I sent you? Yeah, let's watch it.
Hey, Dog Psychology listeners, Art here. We're going to get back to the show in just a few seconds, but before we do, I wanted to share something with you that I'm really excited about. Now, if you're passionate about understanding your dog on a deeper level, then I have something very special for you. Join the Better Because of My Dog Psychology community, a place where dog owners and professionals alike can come together and grow, learn, and strengthen their bond with their dogs. For just $50 a month, you can get access to over 300 hours of content that I've created, including my DogFit Live webinars, exclusive podcast episodes, our entire leash handling course and puppy foundations course that I've created. We also have bi-weekly Zoom calls where I personally help you dive into new topics. We analyze video, I answer questions, we open up for Q&A, and we just give you strategies to improve your relationship with your dog. We have monthly guest speakers, ebooks, early access to hands-on workshop with me, and a vibrant community chat room. You'll never feel alone in your journey to become better because of my dog. And the best part is you can cancel at any time. So if you're ready to join the BBMD Dog Psychology community, go to the show notes. We're going to have a link down there, or you can also visit skool.com. That's skool.com/BBMD for better because of my dog dog psychology. Again, that's skool.com/BBMD dog psychology.
So. What do you think? So the point is it's a, you know how this is kind of catching steam, if you want to call it that. It's, you know, the consent only touching. Have you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well, I mean, we'll break it, take it back to what Caesar always says, no talk, no touch, no eye contact. Like I don't know what it is about humans that we have to be so handsy. You know what I mean? Like always having to be touch the dog. And what I've noticed when a lot of people are always touching dogs is that they do it unconsciously, or not unconsciously. They just do it like unaware of what they're actually doing at the moment. And I think it's almost like with their anxiety, it's almost like a nervous tick for them that they have to touch the dog. Like, so like when they're working through a dog, they're always like having to touch the dog. I'm like, hey, pause, right? So when we take it back down to this video, what I really like about this video is that she broke it down into like little details, little nuances, and it may not be very visible to like the everyday person, but I liked how, she was talking about the dog looking away and things like that. I mean, honestly, in some cases, I wouldn't, not that I don't look, it depends on the dog, obviously. I wouldn't look too much into it, but at the same time.
I'm leaning a little away from your opinion.
Why?
I think this is a little much. I think she's going a little.
But that's what I'm saying.
You're saying that she's overanalyzing it?
Yeah.
Okay, because you started off with I like the video for this, and then went into it. No. I started the same way. I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, and like again, it really depends on the dog. Because I have a dog that's a little bit like this. Like she looks, she's a real soft dog. You can tell this dog is real soft, real sweet. And I think that what I don't want it to be also is where people get they're too afraid to touch their dog either.
I'm going to read something that's interesting. See if I can find it real quick. The comments from that. Where did I see it from? Oh, that's right. I think it's not going to come back up. Yeah.
I just don't think that the dog is like, for example, like, again, I'm going to use my dog Nala, who we actually use for a demonstration like this because Nala won't bite anybody, right? Obviously she could, but I've had her for almost 11 years and she's never really that's just not in her to do that. However, like she does a lot of the things that I show people to look out for if your dog does these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like maybe a little.
Yeah, to show what avoidance looks like, all this stuff, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, like Nala is such a soft dog, like she's just a good, nice, sweet energy about her that even like but again, I use it as an example so people can see in real time like what is actually happening, but also without suffering a consequence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the overread is and again, I'm going to get in my little psychological chair, a little projection. And the reason I say this is I went and I looked at her feed and I looked at her posts. I looked at what she projects, who she wants to be through social media. And it's got a flavor of that. That's kind of a modern psychological concept. It goes against long held teachings of not the consent, but the sensitivity to social interactions is now considered normal. And I think what it is the people that are oddly sensitive socially are the ones that are writing the rules now. And so it's like they're supporting themselves. And so if you look at the people that support this, the dog's got to like write you a note. They seem to have that in them about people. And we talked about that whole family thing, and the lack of. So what I do like is pay attention to if your dog is accepting it. Like, what is that going to look like? Proximity is, I think, the easiest thing for people to see. If your dog doesn't trust you, they won't get close to you.
Yeah.
Right. If your dog anticipates you touching them as a part of getting close to you and they don't want to be touched, what won't they do? They won't get close to you. Right. And if you look at that, a lot of that is very subtle. And I mean, she spends a lot of time reading dog language, but that's what I mean by projection. Beyond what you read, you now have to interpret what you see. And that's what I see in her is a lot of overinterpretation of why the dog is doing what it's doing as opposed to more pulled back. And what I'm seeing is a dog that's still right there in your intimate space. And if something you were doing was offensive enough or enough to stop you, they would move. You would see a bigger move from them. You would see something more akin to that. Do you see? You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I saw it, I was like, huh. And
it was more of a combination of like the avoidance, and because she took two things. Like she talked about whale eye. She talked about she didn't say avoidance. She was like the looking away, and then it heard something. So it's like all these individual things. Now, if you had that moving away and like the look that she was talking about, those together, then maybe a little concerned. But like there was like very individualized at that moment. It
never looked like the dog was concerned about what she was doing.
Right.
The dog showed a little concern of something environmental, but we couldn't hear what that was. That could have been a loud sound.
Yeah.
Right. That could have been something substantial to the dog. And that's what, when you start to get overly sensitive to this, if you read the first, it's like 5 or 6 comments, but they had a whole bunch of likes on them was, I did this and my dog went numb for 3 days. I did this and my dog didn't know what to do, right? The dog got confused about that over interacting, like trying to read when you should do it and when you shouldn't. When is my dog saying this and when is my dog saying that? And so that was what was interesting about the comment section. As I went right to the comments, I'm like, what are the people going to say about this? I'm curious. And they kind of supported, I think, I don't want to say what we're saying, but it seemed like that, because when the owner shifted to try to adjust to that, the dogs definitely didn't see it as a positive, right? Knowing when to give attention and ignore is very important. Knowing when your dog accepts things and when they don't, very important. When you put a leash on, if your dog moves away a little bit, that's important. That's important, but it's not that we're not coming from that. Even the word consent is tricky. That's what I'm finding the angles some of these training people take that I don't agree with. What's tricky is they use words that you really can't debate.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you guys. That's pretty smart, but come on, let's
right.
Debate these concepts. These are not undebatable. Fear-free.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, how do you debate fear-free? How do you debate consent touching? It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that I even said that to my wife. I go, I want to do a video on this. I go, but I don't even know how. I don't even know how, because anything you say is going to look wrong, especially coming from the way I would talk about it. And that's why I wanted your opinion on this. And, guys who watch us, when I send these videos to Art, we haven't talked about it before. So it's interesting.
You're getting the real conversation.
Yeah. Right. As we watch it. So we haven't had a conversation. We just have similar viewpoints on dog psychology, but we definitely have different personalities that we interpret it through, different experiences. I have a different lived experience than you, Art.
No, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, so people get attached to the words, like you said, fear-free or being tolerant or accepting or kind. Actually, I want to talk about this real quick because, like, we're going to talk about the word kind, right? And you think, oh, you just got to be kind. But, and I agree, we should be kind. But what kind to me is very different than and people always seem to, Art, you're really kind, but also like, if I had a family member that I absolutely love, right? And they were addicted to drugs, right? Taking them away from that, even though they were going to struggle, is me being kind to them. Not saying, oh, I accept you who you are, let me give you more drugs.
Kindness has common sense in it.
So there's a fundamental foundation that we are built on, that, you know, that I'm built on, that if I have a family member that is struggling and I'm going to be there to support them, I'm not going to give them the thing that they want. I'm not going to be tolerant and say, I'm kind of say, I'm going to give you the thing that's making you struggle. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so we have been, and so here's the thing. And if you go against that, if you go against being kind, and then they say, oh, that person's not kind, we're kind because we are XYZ, we're accepting and tolerating things like that. You know what I mean? And so
acceptance and kindness, they always are thinking it's the same thing.
And by the way, I've been very guilty of that as well. Like, you know, like, oh, you should be kind to people, you know, and I've said that. And, you know, I even tell people, like, people are not kind to themselves. Like, we get more abuse from our like what we say to ourselves on the daily basis than what other people do to us. You know what I mean? That's a whole other topic. But, you know, when I take that word kindness or fear-free, or, you know what I mean? It's like, who's going to argue against being forceful and fearful, like, and things like that? Because what is the opposite in it? We're force-free. We do this force-free, but then are you force-free? No, then automatically we're already the enemy.
Well, absolutely.
And we can't argue against that. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, is they corner it through the interpretation of how they talk about it. And that's where you're like, oh, man, and if you go back to where I see one of the fundamental issues, is it's the education has changed to the emotional side, not the pure psychological behavioral side. We're now interpreting it through how we feel, not what it does. So if it makes you feel bad, then the choices and everything's around that. And that's why you see it in the vet schools. So fear-free is coming through the vet schools. This isn't like somebody, you know, wrote a book on this and thought it was a great idea. It's coming through the vet schools. And through the vet schools, it's coming through. If you went it right now and majored in psychology, I guarantee you're going to have at least 3 professors that have like purple hair and like a questionable gender. Because what you're getting this whole concept of psychology being feelings. Okay. And this is where the entire United States is leaning in that direction. That's why we are on the most medications forever. And that's why we've gone the most therapy ever, but we're the most miserable ever. It's because we're not really we're always trying to be kind, and not realizing that being kind sometimes means being hard and being difficult and going through a challenge and having dirt kicked up in your face. And it's why people struggle with aggression. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we're being conditioned to, the moment something doesn't feel like everybody's happy, something's wrong. And even the word happy, it's not about chasing happiness. Happiness is a momentary thing.
Well, it's going to be taken away in a second.
But that doesn't mean you should suddenly be miserable in the absence of that happy moment. And this is where everybody's measuring things on, even dog behavior. Right? So if you look at that video, it's about, is my dog always happy? Well, what do you even interpret that correctly? Right? So you want your dog to be happy, let it run in the woods and get away from humans for 3 weeks. It'll be happy.
Yeah. You know, it's also like when people will take some of Caesar's videos and they take a small moment in time. See, this is like, look at that dog's miserable. Of course, like not of course, but like, the dog, we're working the dog through it. And then you look at the dog at the end and people are like, no, but you shouldn't have to do that to get to that point, you know?
They're caught up in the process. We're caught up in the ending. We're caught up in the outcome.
Right.
And we understand that sometimes the process is going to have things and it's why social media is so bland when it comes to dog behavior, because people want the process, and then you show them the process and they're like, oh, that's the process. What do you want? The dog, if you want to fix the thing you already fucked up because you didn't do it right from the beginning, you kind of have to take your dog through the fire in one way, shape, or form, from nervous back to normal or from aggressive back to normal. Which one's it going to be? But you can't use rainbows to fix the whole problem. And I want to use as many rainbows as possible.
I want to be as rainbow training as I can, meaning happiness and, you know, making it fun and relaxation in the sense that, hey, this is great. But I'm a seek peace, neutral guy. That's how I see happiness. Right? To me, I think happiness is peaceful. Like when you are able to achieve peaceful neutrality when you need it. Demonstrative people are the ones that seem to actually appear happy at the moment. Hold on a second. But they have the most issues.
Yeah.
So that's where this movement has my concern, is that it's just taking people down the kind path, the easy path, the happy path. But that's not realistic. That's why everybody's miserable. As a whole, what we're seeing is society is more selfishly driven. And it's more, we want all this acceptance, but at the same time, we want others to pay prices, right? So we want to be left alone, but we want everybody else to follow the rules. And if you want to take it back to what I see in dogs and the way that this breaks down, is that you can't allow a society to only be big things that you enforce, because it won't work. I mean, think of what you said. You had 15 dogs at your house over this last couple of weeks. And what I've learned, I'm sure what you've learned, is that when you want 15 dogs to coexist together, you don't wait until there's a fight to enforce discipline. You have a disciplined day. Your day is disciplined. And that includes rules that are enforced with corrections. But a disciplined day is a structured day. And then we have to enforce small, tiny things, right? So you can't jump on the back of another dog. I'm going to enforce that before I have to worry about a fight. You can't jump on me. You can't, rush through the boundary of a door. There's all these little things we will be enforcing to make sure that we don't get these big, violent, bad interactions. And we also have to accept that in these groups, there are strong members and weak members. That doesn't mean that you're a strong, better, weak, miserable. It doesn't mean that. But acting like this weak thing can be this strong thing, right? That doesn't work. We can prove that. If I put a really insecure back of the pack dog and I give it all the accolades of what I would, the way I would interact with a front dog, dude, everybody's going to beat that dog up.
Yeah.
Every other dog around me is going to beat that dog to shit because it's not going to work. And so that's the part that I see, is that we're going down the path of it's almost like a dishonesty. And as working with dogs, we're not allowed to follow that path. We have to stay in this, like Caesar says, simple. We have
and
to
never work against Mother Nature.
Never work against Mother Nature, right? So working against Mother Nature, my daughter's about to be 15. Working against Mother Nature is having a 15-year-old daughter live with parents, because really Mother Nature would have that thing out on its own, ready to go, right? So what do you get? You get what you would get when you have that, what would be like, it's 15-year-old girl conflict with parents. And so that's the way our society's structured. But I tend to see things kind of simple. You look at that video, and what I see is that somebody's taken simple and made it complicated. And in that complication, in my opinion, this is just mine, it's based on emotion. And if again, as I were to take another step, it's based on the emotion of how she feels in society. Not an objective look at the way these things work, but the way that she feels in this organism of society. I don't give a fuck. The way I feel is not the way everybody feels. I know that. I can take myself out and see the bigger picture. That's what I want from people that teach behavior, is I want it to not be about how you feel. I don't give a fuck. I want it to be about the way it works. And that's what I see is where everybody's getting all fucking sideways and why it's problematic. And then when somebody comes along that's practical, and you can look at this in our social society now, it takes a long time for a practical person to be accepted amongst believing all these emotional perceptions. So that's how I can tie it back together.
We can talk about having the 15 dogs here.
Fuck yeah. That's a lot. I mean, that's how do it.
Dude, I haven't had that many dogs in my house in a long time, but it was just kind of like, so my kids are back in school, and my wife said, hey, why don't we, take in, I can do 2. I only do 2 if it's just me, right? But she's like, how about you do 2 and I do 2? So we had our 7 dogs plus the 4 board and trained dogs, okay? That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And by the way, a board and trained dog is at least 2 boarding dogs, maybe 3.
You know what I'm saying? If you were to equate it, because the responsibility of the training part of a board and trained dog takes having that dog there to a completely different responsibility level.
You're
Like
right.
I can board 10 dogs,
Yeah.
but I can only board and train like 3.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? There's a huge difference between those two concepts for me.
Yeah.
So what I do for a board and train.
Dude, so like these past 2 weeks, that's another reason why we haven't really recorded, because I have just been from sun up to sundown, just been working, and then so spend time with my family, and then still, not get away from myself. I love doing jujitsu, so I have to be committed on those. How
many days a week do you do jiu-jitsu?
3 to 4 days at 2 hours a day. So that's
hey, dude, you're getting good quick.
That's a big chunk of your day. You know what I mean? And on slow days, on those 2 weeks, I probably only did 2 out of the 4 at least, but I have to, like, it's something I'm committed to, something I do for my own mental health, So, what was I going to get? Oh, having the 15 dogs. And I want to add that the episode that I actually accidentally deleted, we talked about a dog that had killed a friend of mine's dog that had killed another dog. They had 3 dogs. I have that dog here with me. Okay.
No shit.
Yeah.
How is it?
I'll get to that point. So the dog's the dog's awesome, actually.
All right.
It was just like a freak thing, so to speak. But the dog has some issues, but actually not that bad of a dog. It was just a freak accident, but still killed a dog. And so, trying to navigate through all that. So like I have the dog because they're trying to decompress and figure out what they're going to do and things like that. So the dog's staying with me. So it's not that I'm not working with the dog. I am. However, it's just to continue on his day-to-day life, what it would do with my friends. Right? And so, but even though like I'm not going to get this dog around the other dogs, too risky right now. So she gets alone time. So I take her, I get all my dogs out in the morning and then I feed them, do all the stuff, I put them away, take her on a walk, make my kids breakfast. When they go to school, take the other dogs on a walk, come back home, do what I need to do, calls, my membership, like all the things that I have to do, put them away, and comes home. She does, takes the dogs. It's just like a one after the other. So it's like from 4:30 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night. It's just like nonstop. It's been like that for 2 weeks. And then Sundays are my day off, but we started doing a group class on a Sunday, which I said I would never work on a Sunday, but yet here I am. And so I have one more week of group class. And so I'm just like, this has been 6 weeks of me not having a day off. Okay. And here's the thing. Am I getting burned out? Not really. There was one day where, and then my car broke down. 2 of my cars broke down at the same time. So it's just been like one after the other. Right. But I've just been going through it and actually doing pretty good going through it. I've actually kind of enjoyed these moments in a weird way. Kind of enjoyed.
I know what you mean. I think, and I don't want to speak for you, but maybe knowing there's an ending makes it like a good, hard-working challenge. Now, waking up and what blew me away is, remember Lynn? When I met Lynn was doing that with 30 every day.
And dogs that are fighting and killing each other.
And he was doing, I think, when I did an appointment, he was doing 3 appointments a day and doing all of that and doing all the pack walking and stuff like that. So, we've all been through it, and it's the reason I'll do that for a couple years and then I can't do it anymore, and then I'll move out and I'll move out from doing that part of it and I'll just have my dogs and then move back into it. That's good for you. I agree, man. I like those short, intense challenges, and then you step out of it for a second. You almost feel bored when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
All that work you're doing to your life work makes it easier to do that shit.
Yeah.
But Saturdays are crazy. So I would drive 3 hours down to Fort Lauderdale, do 3 appointments and drive 3 hours back. And it's when you think about it, you're like, oh, it sucks. But when you're doing it, you're like, the fact that I can do this, you pull from it. You're like, when things get hard, you're like, well, it's going to be over. We're going to get through it. It's not going to go on forever. And it's just kind of that. And it goes back to the mindset we were just talking about, Art. It's appreciating difficulty. That's the biggest thing that's different between me now and as a younger person, is I didn't want any difficulty. And now I appreciate, I redid this whole house. I appreciate, the beginning to end kind of process, because it's hard for me. That's not an easy process for me to go through. So
yeah.
Right on.
Cool.
You sent me a couple videos too.
Yeah, so we can watch. Which one can we do? Hang on, let's see. We can
Hey,
do the.
hold on a second. Let's go back.
Hang on.
What's the hardest thing about having all those dogs in your house for you, Art?
The amount of time that I don't spend with my family, probably. That's the hardest part. And it's been weighing on Anne. So, I have been in the past. I probably would have been really bothered by it. But not that Anne's not bothered, but it's weighing on her too because they're in our house, right? And then if luckily the dogs, don't have anxiety. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're vocal or loud. We've actually had a pretty good round of dogs that have come through. So, but just pulling away from my family, it's like because I put River to sleep and Ann puts Canyon to sleep. And so while Ann is putting Canyon to sleep and I'm trying to put River to sleep and he doesn't want to go to sleep, I have to, once he goes to sleep, sometimes, by the time he does fall asleep, not always, but it's like 11 o'clock at night. So I got to go out there and get all the dogs out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that one's rough.
Once you've been laying down with your son and you want to fall asleep too, it's hard to get back up and then go get them out. But you got to do it. And so you get up, and then it's hard for me to fall asleep after that.
Is the evening, is it the first time out in the morning, the pressure of that, or the last time out in the evening that's the hardest for you?
The last in the evening, because in the morning it's just me.
Yeah, and
I wake up, it's quiet, and you go outside.
Unless you get one of those dogs that you let out, and when you let it out, it just starts firing off at like a neighbor's dog or something like that. Because we have neighbors.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. You gotta.
Yeah. That would actually be Buddha sometimes. Usually when that happens, I have to put him on a leash. I've already got he's gonna do it because he gets worked up, and I was like, I gotta put you on a leash because if not, he'll just run out and rah, rah, rah. And plus there's a possum that lives behind our fence, so that gets him worked up, and he's always like, where's it at? Because he can smell it. So I have to put him on a leash, and then once I get him a couple rounds outside, then I take the leash off, and it's quiet. So all right,
this room I'm in now was the kennel. This thing was a full kennel. That made it easier. Yeah, let's watch that other video you have.
Okay, so we're gonna watch a video. Just a little disclaimer: it is people fighting.
Yeah, there's some aggression from everything.
Yeah.
It's an aggressive video.
You're going to jail. Stop! I'm right here. Stop!
Yeah, so we got to remember the players in the game here. All right, we got long dress lady, white shirt, black pants lady.
The mom.
Now we got tank top black pants lady who's full aggression. She's a pit bull. Now, can you pause it? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Pause it.
Yeah.
All right. This is so even dogs do that same shit. That lady in the white shirt and black pants had no fight in her until that other lady came out and had fight all in her. You see that? She had no fight in her until that other lady came out. And now the dog belongs to...
We don't know.
Well,
it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it does come out of nowhere. But let's see if you can see. The thing I couldn't track is it looks like, okay, so right now that dog is targeting white shirt, black pants lady. And white shirt, black pants lady lives in this apartment up and to the left. Or because her aggressive counterpart came out of there.
So these two were originally fighting up here on the right side. Oh, so the white shirt versus black shirt, orange shorts was fighting, and they were fighting on the right side.
Okay,
so mom here, then the orange long dress was also on the right side. Then the mom from the left side comes out and starts fighting the other mom.
We're assuming mom.
Yes, family member.
So what it looks like is that the lady on the left and the lady on the right are together, and the lady in the white shirt and black pants and the one fighting the lady in the dress are together, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So we have that together. Now the dog has come in here and it looks like it's now trying to bite white shirt, black pants.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm going to assume it's connected to these other two, the pink shorts lady. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming lady. Sorry if
we're making that assumption, but we don't really know. But once I unpause it, you'll see. Hey, by the way, is it skipping? Is it pausing for you? Is it playing well?
It's paused right now. It's playing perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, here we go. So now see it's going after this lady in the black pants, orange shirt.
Yep. Hold on, I gotta look this way.
Okay, now there's another little dog that comes out right here. See this? On the right side?
There's a baby gate on the apartment up and to the left.
That fell down.
Okay, and then the pug comes out. Is that what comes out? I think there's multiple dogs because there's a pug hanging out, and then the pitty runs up and starts fighting the dog too.
Right. So on the baby gate fell down. When the mom comes out, the baby gate falls down.
Okay.
And you're going to see that black dog come out on the door on the right. You see that black dog comes out, but then you see him stop because where the baby gate normally is, you'll see him stop, right? So the dog's out there right now, actually. The baby gate is usually right there at the edge of the step, like before you.
The dog is now jumping on Pink Shorts lady.
Yep.
The dog is going at everybody.
Everybody.
So, by the way, very typical. When everybody's acting like fools, somebody might come in and try to control. It doesn't look like it really bit anybody. It's excitedly jumping in and like mimicking them. Like, you know what it looks like? Remember that one we broke down the video where the guy was trying to work out and his dog was grabbing his sweatshirt?
Yeah. Yes.
That's kind of what this is like right here. That was a bite.
Yeah. And so also this little black dog that came out from the right, this woman in the red shirt, jean shorts, picks the dog up, but then puts it at the top of the stairs, which I thought was kind of odd. Like, why not just throw it in the house? Okay. And then you can kind of see in the background on the door on the left, there is the dog is hanging out there like on the little porch there. But the baby gate's down.
Okay.
But the dog is not coming out because, one, it looks like a pretty chill dog. But also it's used to that barrier being right there. And then you just see like the
boom. That dog didn't come in biting, but it's biting now, it looks like.
Yeah. And then look, they're all running up, so the energy's moving up. That black dog is still meaning the dog on the porch up there.
There's a dog trailing behind too that doesn't ever seem to get involved.
He does get involved though. You'll see it when as soon as we're gonna play it through, but there's a moment where excuse me, where the brown, the pitty, the brown and white one, the white and brown one, charges up this. You can't see it right now, but it's going up the stairs right now. And there's a dog at the top of the stairs. As soon as you hear the roar, you're gonna see this little black dog charge, but it goes towards the energy, which is towards like the bottom of the patio, like that retaining wall. And you're gonna see him like get attracted to that, like get pulled into that. And he's like, where's it at? Watch. Boom.
But yeah, I see it. I see what you mean. But yeah, he goes right into it.
The dog is in the house.
Fucking shit show. What's scary is these idiots can vote.
Yeah.
Play the whole thing through, dude, without stop.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Bust her shit. Damn. 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 I want.
Trailer trash. That is exactly right.
That's where the baby gate fell right there.
Gotcha. That's a hilarious scene right there.
The dog. The dog. Yo, she banging the shit out of her, the cat? Look, another dog. The dog's fighting now. What the fuck she doing? Police. She got a phone police.
It's a lot.
The dog is in the house.
The dog ended up in the house. It's still in there, huh?
Yeah.
So it's impossible to know how that ended.
Right. And you also don't see that black dog, the little tiny one. At the last minute, he ran in there too. So who knows what happened.
You know, that you hear about that a lot, where a dog just ends up in your house or backyard. I have a crazy video from a newscast of a pack of pit bulls that had been known to get loose. And there's video of a couple on their patio. They're just on their own back patio, and this pack of pit bulls charges up on them, starts biting up at them, but it, like immaturely, like very excitedly. And it just so happened that the people were really passive. Like they were passive, and the guy kind of guarded his wife, like full courageous move. He shielded his wife with his back and moved inside, and they got inside. And had they thrown any defense at those dogs, I think it probably, one of them would have been potentially killed. It would have been brutal, because you had, you know, they would have fed themselves like those, like those people did. Right. I mean, that was such nasty pack behavior right there. Like the nasty side of it, when you have instability mixed with frustration, and then something sets off an aggressive act. Like that woman came out, like you see dogs charge through doors.
Yeah.
I mean, that was full aggression.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, protection or anything. So when people are like, oh, he was protecting my home. Like nobody was protecting anybody there. That was, and if you look at it, I can't tell, one of the ladies walked off camera. I'm not sure if she's the one that brought the dog in. The one with the shorts and the pink tank top looks like she may have gone and got the dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she does go out frame, and then they both come in. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Blue was sitting on the patio, and I was like standing out front, and somebody walked by and pushed me. Dude, I could stop her, but she'd be there so fast. She's perfectly social, but intuitively protective. She reminds me of the dog in that video where that kid's playing in the ditch, and the dog comes over. Like, I wonder if that's a female dog, because she's that.
Yeah.
She would do that, and would definitely run in. But that dog just got excited, and even if that was the lady that brought it over, it bit her. It jumped up and bit, like at one point it was jumping on her as well. It came in excited, and it ended up aggressive. That dog was biting by the end of that.
Yeah. It's starting to build up. What's that?
We should go in one time, see if we can slow motion, see how many times that dog actually bit. I wonder how many bites people had at the end of that.
But they didn't break skin.
Well, then never mind.
It's all good then.
All good. Or whatever that you'd call that. Interesting.
I was fighting my neighbor, and the dog came out and started biting everybody, but it didn't break skin. Let's ignore the fact that they were fighting.
Steve did it on that.
By the way, this is another good point also, because like we can see people fighting, right? We can see what the dogs are doing. And also in the episode that we had deleted, we actually talked about this, about there's a lot of infighting within the home, whether it's even people having hostility. You don't see that. It's not out on the table. You see people fighting here, right? And so if people are fighting internally with their spouse, like something that's bothering them about their spouse, and there's like holding a grudge, and that energy is still there, right? And so the dogs get affected by that, right? And so people, because that's not tangible, people don't see that. They don't think like, oh, my dog shouldn't be fighting. But yet you see this, it's actually something you see, it's tangible. You see people fighting, and then we see the dogs going after them. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You would reflect that. You become it on some weird level. You can't be around aggression and it not get in you one way, shape, or form. You know, it's like that energy is that's classic neighborhood trash shit right there. Where great.
They're actually from Florida. The license plates were all Florida. I'm just throwing.
That wasn't Florida. That was Florida environment, dude.
It was Maryland. It was actually Maryland.
So that's up north somewhere.
I zoomed into the license plate. I wanted to see it said Maryland.
See, fuck you in Florida, dude. You in Texas,
dude. It was so funny. Every time I see something like about alligators or whatever, I'm like, I mean, I always send him a message. I'm like, hey, there's Todd again, dude, doing Todd stuff.
So many. They're different now. I've told you that before. They're different out here now. They have zero fear of people. They were endangered when I was a kid. You didn't see them very much. And when you'd see them, they'd get out real quick.
They're in Texas too now.
Really?
Yeah. Here in Dallas, like in the creeks and the rivers out here and stuff like that. There's a lot more spawning. Are they
creating it to just normal migration, or are people bringing in pets and letting them go?
No, I think they've always been here. They're just kind of few and far between, just not a lot of them. But now people are like really starting to spot them quite a bit. Dude, I saw there was even here in like one of the Texas rivers, there was a freaking like a shark that made his way all the way up.
Well, that's not abnormal, dude. Like, but sharks can do brackish water pretty crazy. Not only do we have all the alligators, I live near the most shark bite capital No, and we're not talking like fatalities, but like where the most shark bites happen is a place called New Smyrna Beach. And growing up surfing, I know friends who have all been bit in the foot, bit in the calf, bit in the leg, because it's shallow and it's muddy, and sharks will hit you and bite you and kind of figure if you're food, and off they go. But all the time, people are constantly getting whacked by sharks.
Yeah.
Florida guy.
And,
so you got any other videos? Did you get the one I sent you?
Oh,
see if you can get that. See if you can get that up, and then that will. This was really cool. I like this video. I was gonna do this and post why I think this could help people.
Spin the bottle. Okay, why don't we do this, Todd? I do want to share this video. I want to watch, but why don't we watch it on the next episode? Because
Okay.
I have to run to an appointment.
Perfect.
This was the last minute recording, and we said, hey, can we do it today? Because we're trying to squeeze in things, but yeah, let's watch it definitely. And what I can do is I can even download it so it takes the name off the top there. That's what I've been doing.
You guys have stuff you want us to break down or look at? Send it to us.
Dude, actually, this is the video we just saw with people fighting. Someone had sent that to me.
Oh, perfect.
Joyful Canine Services. Shout out to her. She's always sending us stuff all the time.
I think she follows me on Instagram.
She does. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's always sending me videos. Hey, you guys should break this video down. So I think this blind dog video was also another one she may have sent. Yeah. Oh wait, we didn't watch the blind dog video.
No.
We can watch it next time.
Yeah, we'll watch
these two. Because that was a good video too. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. And again, we are back at it. We're going to get back to weekly recordings. So this will be episode 48. We have 2 more before we get to 50. Again, we've tried to get some people to come on the podcast. Some people I've reached out to, they haven't been responsive. But we definitely want to get some guests in here to try and talk to you guys, bring some new information out there. So again, thank you guys for listening. You can follow Todd where can they follow you?
On Instagram is just my name, @Todd Langston.
Yeah, and I'm at DogFit Dallas, based out of Dallas, Texas. You guys have a good day.
All right, guys.
Later.